I'm back in Arizona. Welcome to another episode of InTRUview. I'm Jeff Kraft. You know, I've been really looking forward to this episode because there's a couple of guys that I've been looking forward to chatting with, Justin Moody and Randy Huska. These guys are incredible. They've given back to their communities. They're from South Dakota. They're farm boys. They've got a podcast. They've got New Horizons Surgical Center. They've got Pathway, which they're just coming off of their symposium. We're going to talk to them a little bit about that. So, what do you say? Let's meet them. Can't wait. How you doing, Randy? Good to see you. Good to see you, Justin.
Pleasure.
Good to see you.
Pleasure.
The Pathway Symposium. You guys just came off of that, though, over the last couple of days. How was that?
Awesome. It was great. I mean, how much better is it to get back together with all your friends? All the students have been through here, race cars, yeah, it was pretty fun.
Man, I think I might even learn something
in the class.
Learning occurred.
Well, we'll get more into that a little bit later on, but I want to chat with both of you individually, if you don't mind. Justin, if you don't mind if I chat with Randy first?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you're a busy
Be my
guy.
guest.
All right,
my guest.
let's go take a seat.
Let's do it.
So, Randy, there's so much to talk about when it comes to you. You're very diverse. You're not only, standing next to the chair, you're not only here in Arizona all the time with Pathway New Horizons. You've got your practice out in South Dakota. You're all over the place, including the podcast that we'll talk about, dentist implants and worms. But I want to find out about you. How did all of this start with you getting into the dental industry? Where did it begin?
So getting in the industry was just random. This was not a lifelong dream. I was graduating college and didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a biology degree, and my advisor said, well, why don't you look into dentistry? So I applied to one dental school and I got in, and when I graduated dental school, I bought a practice. Just always been solo, never partners, just me and my team.
What is your approach? You seem like you're a little unorthodox compared to a lot of other dentists out there, which is why so many people gravitate towards you. But tell me about your approach to patients and the industry as a whole.
I'm definitely a no bull crapping type of guy. I'm straightforward. I tell it as it is. I have a lot of patients that will schedule extra time just for the talking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories out there, and I want to know them because I've been in that community 33 years now. So I'm in generational dentistry. The kids I treated when they were newborns are now bringing their kids in.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty special thing.
The dentists, implants, and worms. This podcast. Why a podcast?
Well, one, it's fun, because if you know Justin, it's going to be fun. That's mandatory. After you do this 33 years, you want to start doing some other things. You get a little, branch out. So, the podcast was a nice little side gig that's fun. You get to meet a lot of people with it, obviously, if you're talking with them. And it's just another way to reach out.
Yeah, it's really a fun podcast to listen to. I mean, you guys are real guys talking about real things where people want to listen.
Yeah.
And even if they're not in the dental industry, they're almost kind of like, they're just fun guys to listen to.
Yeah,
I like
it's not stuffy.
Yeah, it's not stuffy at all. It's not stuffy at all. Your relationship with Justin, how did that come about?
So about 2016 or so, I didn't know him. He was on the opposite side of the state of South Dakota, so that's 400 miles. And he was in the beginning of the podcast, the early episodes, and they were looking for people to talk to. And I have my own story where I happen to have a large social media following. And so they were looking for famous dentists, and it popped up. So he called me and said, hey, you want to be on this podcast? I said, I don't know what a podcast is, but sure. And so that was a very random connection that was meant to be, I guess. I like it.
All right, great chatting with you, but I want to chat with Justin. I want to get his story as well, and then we'll all get together and we'll talk a little bit more. What do you think he is, by the way?
I know there's Fireball somewhere, so I would check that location.
I smell it. I'll be back. So I just got done chatting with Randy, and I asked him, I said, what do you think Justin is right now? He goes, well, if you smell the Fireball, you can find Justin. Where's the fireball? I'm ready.
There's a whole keg of it in the podcast room. So we like to put things on that have fun.
Yeah.
At the very first meeting we did, like my buddy and I ran down to the liquor store and there was a box of Fireball with a little dispenser, like a Franzia wine type box.
Oh yeah.
And we put this pyramid of shot glasses, which had our podcast on it, and people would come in, they'd do a shot, and pretty soon the podcast started flowing.
Yeah.
People were ready.
Literally started flowing.
Yeah.
You guys have so much fun on this podcast. How did the podcast get started? You started this podcast, and what is dentist implants? What's the worms?
The podcast was kind of a brainchild of myself and a buddy of mine back in South Dakota named Gabe Olson. We're like, hey, we should do a podcast because we can talk about dentistry, we can talk about building offices, we can talk about implants. That's what I do. And as it turned out, the worm part is a great search engine. Because in the heap of dental podcasts there are now, people will be like, you always remember the worm, right? And then so they hit worm, and we're the only one in the worm category.
Yep, that's absolutely right. You're not just a dentist, not just a podcaster, but you give back to the community so much. Tell me about, though, first Pathway. How did that all begin?
When I graduated dental school, I went back home to my town of 1,000 people, and I did dentistry. I ranched with my dad, that sort of stuff. And the same mentor that got me into being a dentist, he's like, you got to get into dental implants. He was like, if you don't get into dental implants, like you're not going to like your career. I went to some courses. I started putting dental implants in, and man, I was like, this is what I want to do. I think for myself, it was the most impactful thing I could do for my patients, is to get rid of the floating dentures and the teeth that they can't really actually use or bite anything with, and give them back a quality of life that they never had. And then in 2016, I partnered up with a buddy of mine, and we started teaching on the road.
Okay.
So we would do these seminars across the country, but we were missing this live training component. We were like, man, we need to figure out how to incorporate live training on patients, and we got to looking, and Arizona has a very unique situation where they allow dentists to get a temporary license here without going through the big process. And then we originally found a nonprofit clinic that works predominantly on the homeless and things in downtown Phoenix, and we started training docs with that, and then that was it. Like, people, instead of like 30-40% of the people taking our course, launched and started placing, it was now up in the 70s and 80s.
Wow.
Like, it was the missing piece. I started talking to my buddies, like Randy Huska and a college buddy of mine, Jack Morrison, who, end up being on the board of directors for the nonprofit that we started here called New Horizons Dental Institute. And now the clinic, has doctors and residents, and they take care of the patients from start to finish. The patients, oh my God, they get what they would never ever get before.
Yeah.
And now, it always amazes me who we see: school teachers, bus drivers, retirees, like you name it.
Before we get too much into New Horizon, let's go find Randy. I want to talk to both of you about New Horizon and get more in depth, because it really is such a special place for not just the folks here in Arizona, but all the doctors that come in, and they're a part of it as well. So let's go find Randy.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, it's beautiful in here. How long have you guys been here?
We moved in here in April of 2018, and we had one little space where we taught and did everything out of, and since then we've moved into about 5 of these suites right here.
Is that right?
We're about to go into the Learning Center, which was the second annex of it. Here we do the didactic. I lecture from the front of the room. Currently, we have an IV sedation course going on.
Oh, is that right now?
Yeah, so this is all set up. That's they got the dummy over there. They're teaching advanced cardiac life support for the patients. And we call this the Learning Center, and it's really just about the didactic learning, everything within slides. We have some hands-on models and things. And then when we're done with that, which is usually 2 or 3 days, we end up going into the clinic.
So guys, this is the New Horizons Surgical Center. I like this. This is great.
Yeah, this was our newest addition. We opened this during COVID. This is the glue that puts everything together. This is literally where you get the win. And that is the patient gets the services that they would never been able to afford.
Yeah, I love it. It's just great to hear what you guys are done here.
So we're gonna go in here.
Okay.
Like I said, we got the course going on, so there's probably going to be a room full of docs learning.
Let's barge in.
Yeah, let's do it.
I like that.
Let's do it.
So from the front desk, we walk in, and we've got how many rooms do you have?
We got 8 operatories here.
Okay.
To take care of our patients, and the cause is so we call this the vault.
Okay.
And what you see in here is all from the dental implants to the parts. Yeah, we have a big operatory at the end. You'll see that it's got big cameras on it. And we got a course going on. We'll try not to bother them too much, but yeah.
This is impressive. So impressive.
Yeah, and we're working on a bigger facility.
Really? We will definitely be coming back and checking that out.
We should go down and look at the original learning center, the very first suite that we started out of.
I'll follow you.
Perfect.
I'll follow you. Oh, guys, another building, but this is where all the magic happens. This is where Dentists, Implants, and Worms, a podcast. This is where it all happened.
Yeah, it is, and we this was the original building that we first leased back in 2018. I think one of the things that Pathway does uniquely different than everywhere else is everyone comes together and they get to see each other that they spent a week-long course with, 6 months ago.
A reunion.
Yeah, 2 years ago, and that's the coolest thing.
This has opened up my world.
Yeah. It really has.
I would come from the middle of South Dakota and just meet people from all over the country, all over the world, international too.
And you guys have both come a long way and transformed this industry into what it is, today. And with the podcast, because I love listening to the podcast. I'm not a dentist myself, but I like listening to it. You guys are just so fun to listen to, so engaging. And one of my favorite things, helping you navigate the world of dentistry, one vodka soda at a time. So with that said, you guys want to grab a drink?
We should get a vodka soda.
Absolutely.
Randy, Justin,
pleasure.
Let's go to the bar.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, those guys are a blast to hang out with, and they're so much fun to listen to, so check out their podcast. Again, Dentists, Implants, and Worms. You're not gonna be sorry. Now, these guys truly believe that everyone deserves quality access to quality dentistry. And you can tell, they believe it. Well, with that said, I'm Jeff Kraft. Let's go hang out in Arizona.
Hi, my name is Dr. Christine Odland, and I'm one of the clinical instructors here at New Horizons and at Pathway. My job is typically in the digital realm, so I love using CEREC. I'm one of the CEREC instructors, both doing implant restorations and tooth-borne restorations. My relationship with Dr. Justin Moody is both in the professional world as an educator here at Pathway, and then he happens to also be my fiance. The work culture here at Pathway is just phenomenal, and New Horizons. So we have the nonprofit clinic and the education center, and it feels contagious. Everyone wants to help each other, everyone is helping patients, and you get to see the lives that we change day in and day out. It's amazing. I've been using True Abutment in my private practice and then now teaching it down here at Pathway and New Horizons for the last, I don't even know how many years. As soon as they came out with the variable height tie bases, it was a game changer in the CEREC world for me. It just allows so much more freedom and flexibility. And then the custom abutments, the fact that I can take an impression one time with the scan post and I don't have to switch it out is huge. And so being able to show other doctors the capabilities, if you have a deeper implant or a more shallow implant, and the flexibility of what we can do has been phenomenal. And I love teaching that.